'Tis the season and we have a beautiful certified Piedmontese prime rib roast. We're gonna trim this up, we're gonna season this, we're gonna inject it, and we're gonna show you exactly how to make the most delicious smoked prime rib this holiday season. Now let's get started. And when it comes to prime rib, there's one step that I like to take. I like to cut the bones off. The reason why is I like to cook these separate, set them off to the side, and tie the rib roast itself nice and tight. So get yourself a sharp knife. I've got my Victorinox boning knife, and you are going to just follow the bones on the back side of this prime rib. And you're just making slices, and you just kind of keep your knife at an angle, and you can start to see, you know, the roast itself separating from the bones. Just like so. So the next thing that you want to do now that the bones are removed is you want to tie this up, and you want to tie it nice and tight. So get yourself some butcher's twine. You want to tie this nice and tight. And trim off any extra. We'll cut those off as well. I'll take a paper towel and wipe any of the purge. We just want to dry this up the best that we can because we're going to be using our own binder here. We're going to be using some olive oil as a binder. Just pour a little bit in your glove. We're just going to wipe that on the surface of that prime rib. We're just looking for a nice little shiny coating. That's going to give something for that rub to stick to. All right. Now I like to take a couple branches of rosemary, and what I'll do is I will actually tuck them under the strings just like so. So I know it's hard because we just tied these nice and tight. So we're going to try our best not to destroy the rosemary or do any damage to this prime rib roast. That's going to add a little bit of presentation effect, and it's also going to add a little bit of flavor as this prime rib cooks down. Now the nice thing about these certified Piedmontese prime ribs, or really any of the beef that you get from them, is that it really doesn't require any trimming. Now you see me trim off a couple pieces of fat, and that's just because they're hanging off from probably handling it. But for the most part, these prime ribs or any cut of beef that you get from CP is pretty well trimmed and pretty well ready to be cooked. Now that we've got it glazed up with some olive oil, we've got that rosemary on there, we're gonna be using some of our Spiceology prime rib rub. Over the years, I've determined that this is my favorite prime rib rub that there is, and we're gonna give it a nice coating. Now remember, this is a nice, big, thick cut of beef, so it's not gonna hurt to put some seasoning on it. Now, if you want to keep it a little bit more on the minimalist side, you could easily just do some salt, pepper, garlic, and that along with the rosemary. And what we're going to do throughout the cook is going to make for a very, very delicious prime rib. But make sure that you season all sides. And as you're doing it, pat it down with your gloved hand, and that's going to help the rub stick. I'll put a link down in the description to this rub. It is one of my favorites. I've made a ton of prime ribs with this for myself, for my family, for my friends, and everybody has always said how great these prime ribs turn out. Now, I don't know about you, but that is a beautifully prepared prime rib, but we are not done yet. So this year, we're gonna be trying something a little different. We're gonna be injecting this prime rib rub. Now, what I did is I made a very special injection using some Wagyu beef tallow, some seasoned salt, some minced garlic, and some pepper. We're gonna inject this several times throughout the prime rib, and we wanna make sure it's facing up. That's gonna make sure that it's not leaking out. So let's go ahead and do so. And I'm going to get I'm gonna inject this in 3 places, and we're gonna get this down about halfway deep into that prime rib. And as we back it out, we're going to inject into that rib roast. Now, because the way a prime rib or a ribeye is made in terms of the fat and the way the meat is, some of the injection may actually squirt out, you know, from underneath, and that's okay. We're just looking to add that additional juice, that additional flavor Now that we've got it seasoned, we've got it injected, I've got the Camp Chef Woodwind Pro running at 225 degrees with some hickory smoke, and we're gonna get this onto the grill right now. We've got the prime rib roast over here at the Camp Chef Woodwind Pro. We are running hickory wood with the grill set to 225 degrees. We're gonna place this on the top rack, just like so. And we're gonna let this go until we reach about 118, 120 degrees internal temperature on that prime rib. Once you see that the rub itself is starting to stick to the prime rib, take yourself a skillet or a little pan, get yourself some butter, some rosemary, some garlic, and just keep it in the smoker there, keeping it nice and warm and melted. And I just like to drizzle it onto the prime rib. Now, I avoid brushing as much as I can because that will potentially knock some of the rub off. So a nice little drizzle will do the trick. As you can see, this prime rib is just about done. We're at about 118, 120 degrees internal temperature. Now, you have several different options when it comes to searing. You can crank the grill up to 450, but if you're gonna do that, pull the prime rib off first because we don't wanna push it through while the grill's getting up to temp. Now, another option that you have is take it inside, take it and put it under your broiler. Another option is you could use a Camp Chef Sidekick, or you could actually flame sear it with a grill gun like I'm gonna do. So let's go ahead and get the grill gun fired up, and I'm gonna show you how we sear it. All right, the prime rib is done. We're reaching temperatures right around 128, 130 degrees internal temperature. Let's get this thing off the smoker, covered with foil so that it can rest. This prime rib has rested. It is time to cut into it and see how good of a prime rib we made. I'm going to go ahead and remove this from the wire rack, place it down on my cutting board. All right, it is time to cut into this and see what we've done. Now remember, we have that butcher's twine on there, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that first and remove that because nobody wants to eat string. And here goes the other. And we're gonna cut right down the middle. I've got my nice 12-inch cutting knife here. Now, first glance, oh, nice and pink. Look at that. Now let's get this sliced up and give it a try. We're gonna see what kind of work that we've done here. Now remember, we seasoned this, we injected this, we smoked it and we basted it with butter and then we seared it. It is time to give this a try. It is so incredibly juicy. It is so flavorful. That rub from Spiceology, that prime rib rub, is the perfect rub to go along with it. You got a little bit of salt, you definitely get the onion and the garlic, and with that injection and with this certified Piedmontese prime rib, it is super, super juicy. Give another try. It is extremely flavorful and tender as well, and that's something that you can expect with that certified Piedmontese beef every time that you get it. Now this is a great holiday recipe for you and your family. And if you're looking for more incredible holiday recipes or any barbecue recipes that is, or anything on that Woodwind Pro, then I suggest that you subscribe to the channel and check out this video right here.